From 21 to 27, I was in two relationships back to back that I feel like put my spirit to sleep. And I actually take full responsibility for that because I allowed it to happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, I put myself in those situations. In doing that, that's that's one form of a distraction. Relationships, right? Friendships can also be a form of distraction if they're the wrong people that you're hanging around. You know, if they're not uplifting your vibration, if they're, not contributing to your growth. If you feel, because this is how I felt basically from 21 to 27. Basically, I felt like it was no growth. Like I was the exact same person because, as I mentioned, like my spirit was just asleep. Like I was just waking up, doing stuff, and there was no growth. So relationships, friendships can be distractions if you don't know what you want to attract or what you should attract. And then also society, right, can definitely be a distraction if you're consuming more than you create. And that's been happening a lot. I'm sure y'all watching have experienced this, but social media can definitely be a huge distraction if you're constantly scrolling, and tapping into what other people are doing instead of creating your life or enjoying and being in the present moment as you would want to, essentially. And not only that, not only social media, but it's other things you consume as well, like the type of shows you watch, movies, even games you play, books you read, music you listen to. So what I had to do and what I've been doing these past couple months is just disconnecting. And I look at disconnecting as the chance to reset, reflect, and recreate our future intentions. What I realize is that everyone is traveling at their own pace, and that pace is not your own. So you really have to take a moment and discover what pace is yours. And I feel like a lot of people mention this as well. The idle mind is the devil's playground. I disagree, because it's that idleness, that stillness, the silence, whatever you want to call it, right? That is essential for our growth, for us discovering ourselves. And that helps us to be able to process our thoughts and be in the present moment. Now, when it comes to resetting, that's basically the distractions, all the distractions that I described, and whatever that may look like for you. Resetting is just removing those distractions. The second piece to this is reflection. And when I talk about this, of course, you want to look back at things that have happened in the past, things that you've experienced, and accept what happened. That's first. But then you also want to ask yourself, okay, why did this happen? How did this happen? And then what did I do to contribute to this experience? Because we can't control other people, right? Or other circumstances that are basically outside of our control. But what we can do is pay attention to, all right, what was my part in this experience? And how can I take those lessons from it and apply that moving forward so that I don't go through this same experience again? Also, when it comes to reflection though, what I like to focus on is, where are you currently on your journey? Where are you going? And then do your current actions align with who you want to be? The third piece to this is recreating ourselves. And this has a lot to do with exploring our limitations. And when I talk about limitations, I'm basically referring to our spiritual, mental, physical, and emotional. Now, when it comes to exploring our spiritual limitations, what you want to do with that is, what that is connection through or with others and also with nature, connection to nature. And you could also look at it as creativity as well, because I feel like that's what spirituality, in a sense, is us tapping into our inner creator. Now, for me, what I like to do is listen to music. This helps me connect to others and understand maybe what I'm experiencing at that moment from a different perspective. And as far as connecting to nature, we have to get outside. We have to put ourselves in environments that allow us to do that. Start traveling, maybe explore your town, perhaps areas that you haven't experienced already. When it comes to mental, I'll get into that one next. For this, in order to expand that, continue to read, or if you haven't read, start reading, take courses. This is basically continuing to be a student of life. If you're not taking a class, or if you're done with classes, done with school, don't stop learning, because that's when your growth stops. If you're relying on information that you've gotten from the past or a couple months ago, a couple years ago, you're not growing, you're not expanding, you're not continuing to educate yourself. You're closed-minded, basically. So, and by default, if you're not going forward, if you're not progressing with the times, or if you're not open to learning new things, by default, you're just declining. Which leads me to emotional. Now with this, I feel like we kind of touched on it a little bit with reflection, and that really has a lot to do with emotional, right? And it also comes down to not just reflecting, but releasing. So you want to take the lessons from what you experienced, but you don't want to hold on to the BS, right? So you take what you need, don't let go of what you don't. Which leads me to physical. And this is pretty straightforward. So nutrition, what you consume, what you put into your body has a lot to do with your energy levels, and exercise. So when it comes to exercise, though, you have to have a goal. Otherwise, you're just going to show up, go through the motions, and not be consistent because you don't know why you're there. And also, too, I wanted to mention, when it comes to exercising, working out, it has to be for you, because that's also going to contribute to your consistency and showing up. And, just how you want to recreate yourself physically. How do you want to dress? Do you want to dress the same way? Do you want to switch your style up, your hair? And all that is up for you to decide. But all of this is part of a process of disconnecting. And you can't reach that. You can't understand that, okay, this is the work that I need to do to be my best self, unless you disconnect. And that's reset. Again, it's the chance to reset, reflect, and recreate your future intentions. So I hope that this made sense. Basically, I just wanted to share a message with y'all to help everyone understand that we have to go our own pace. There's so much noise out here, so many distractions, and it's up to us to be aware, to first be self-aware that these are distractions to us, and then from then go through a process of understanding who we are and what we actually want out of life. And then that will help us to go our own pace. But again, I hope this made sense, and I'll see y'all in the next one.